want to make a special thanks to his trainer, Robert Garcia, who did such a wonderful job with us. Now, let me turn this over to the unified champion, Jose Ramirez.
Thank you, Bob. First and foremost, I want to thank God for the opportunity. I feel very blessed, to be honest, to be here in this position. It's been an amazing training camp. I have an amazing team from my manager, Rick Merrigan, to my promoter, Bob Aram, and Robert Garcia, Charles Tremblay, and Jose Contreras, who's our assistant coach, and Miguel Diaz, who's my command. You know, I couldn't have done this without my family, without the support of my team, without the support of Top Rank, and we're here, and now I'm the unified champion in the 140-pound division. I came here with one mission, so focused just to fight, to do my fight, and I really didn't put too much attention of the venue or the network. I was just so focused to go out there and just be myself and go back to some of my fundamentals and take my time. I know I've done the mistake before as to come in too aggressive, and me and Robert, we worked this last 9 weeks just on going back to my rhythm and the nice jab and doing everything I did when I was an amateur. What took me to becoming an Olympian, I went back to that. And the punches that hurt most in the professional level are the ones that you don't see coming. So, Maurice Hooker he wasn't expecting me to be explosive because I went back to just using my jab and closing the range little by little as the fight went. And before you knew it, I was able to land my combination, and I think that surprised him. But he's a tremendous champion, and I also want to thank him and his family and his team and Eddie Hearn, Matchroom Boxing, The Zone. They did a tremendous job this week taking care of our team. I'm having a great time, to be honest. It was a great week here in Texas and Arlington, Texas, and again, it was a blessing for me to showcase my talent in front of a new crowd, a new media, new people, to really get to know who Jose Ramirez is.
Jose, you talk a lot about your dreams as a young boxer coming up into amateurs about winning a world title, but that even a bigger deal for you, you've said, was to unify the titles, which you have now done. Can you just sort of express what it has meant to you then to now have the second title? I mean, the first one was great, but now you got what you really wanted, was another one.
I'm still in shock a little bit, to be honest, because I didn't go after a vacant title. I went after a guy who was a world champion, who was a humble world champion, and he a humble champion is always going to prepare himself at his best. So I feel very proud of myself and my team because we got the job done.
Jose, how much you think that knockdown in the first round that Scott scored knockdown threw him off his game? Because he seemed like it took him a while to get back in the fight. Was a step.
Well, the job, the round went kind of fast. The first round, it always goes really fast. But he went back to doing what he did with Alex Acedo, and I think the plan for me to show Maurice Hooker was that I'm a whole different fighter than Alex. I'm a lot stronger than Alex. I'm a lot faster than Alex, and I could box better than Alex. And I think I showed all those three qualities. I just tried to overwhelm Maurice Hooker since the first round, and I could see the way he was kind of losing his balance every time I would touch his arms. Even though the punches were landing clean, I was able to take control of the fight, and I just stayed to the game plan and saw my opening, and thank God that did enough.
Jose,
yeah.
I know a lot of people question why you left Freddie Roach after winning a title. Why does it work so well with you and Robert?
Robert's a very similar guy like me. We're first generation here in the United States. We come from a hardworking family, worked in the fields, and his whole gym he's always so focused on all his fighters. He's so optimistic and so motivated to train us, and that makes it easier for us to do our job. When we're in the ring, when a coach sees us and he sees you with that expression that you got what it takes, to make it far, then that makes it easier for me to do what I do best. Freddie Roach is an amazing, legendary trainer, and I was blessed to train with him for 4 years. And he showed me something that I didn't know before, and I'm always going to take that with me. Now I just added more to my game plan with Robert. His gym is very family oriented. The chemistry that I have with my coach, it keeps getting better and better. And as time goes on, he learns how to understand me as a fighter better. He knows how hard I work, and I'm very coachable. And I think that's one key for a fighter to succeed, is to continue being coachable.
Jose, speaking of that, can you elaborate a little bit on what your game plan was for Maurice Hooker going into this fight?
My game plan was to close the distance, but not close it in a way where I was going to be overly aggressive to where he saw everything coming. I wanted to surprise him and land my combinations by using different volume on my punches. Some punches just tapping on, some punches really sitting down on them. And I felt like I was throwing that jab, uppercut, jab, touching to the body. Just so I kept him where he's waiting for me to really commit, and I felt like I kept him thinking, because he didn't know how hard I really hit until the moment came, and that was the game plan, is to use my rhythm and keep my head moving forward, side to side, breaking at the waist throughout the whole time, not giving him a second to land anything while I was closing the range.
Jose,
It looked like you really wanted to invest in the body. Was there something in previous fights with Hooker that you felt that you and Robert felt that it was the right game plan to attack the body?
Someone like Maurice Hooker is he's long in range. He's gonna commit too much on his right hand. He's gonna be looking for the right hand all night. So one way to take that right hand away is to hit that body shot, so you can keep it stationary, the way I did against Amir Mon. Amir Mon was also known for having a tremendous right hand, and I kept that right hand station. He kept the right hand station because he felt me touching him to the body with the left hook. I know he, in an interview before, he said that he was going to try to take away my left hook. I just didn't know how he planned to do that, but my plan was to take away his right hand too. I was just so focused on doing that in the ring, in the fight.
Jose, then that you got the WBO.
Boxing Super Series is going to have their final between Regis and Josh Taylor in October. How close attention do you take to that fight? A lot of discussion about you.
I'm keeping a close attention to the fighters in that tournament. And I signed up to fight the best. To be honest, my goal is to fight the best. I'm not afraid to take a loss in my record. I want to go in there and really bring the best out of Jose Ramirez, and the better fighters I fight, the better Jose Ramirez I'm gonna be able to show. And I'm waiting for that tournament to finish first and foremost. It just depends when that fight takes place. I do plan to also stay active too. I owe it to ESPN and Top Rank for allowing me to come to the Zone and Matchroom Boxing. So I owe them a fight back before the year ends. If they're not, they fight towards the end, then we could be looking at the fight early 2020.
Jose, we talked about, and Robert, congratulations, by the way. We talked about Virgil Ortiz Jr. and the impact he had on you in training, and for both of you. Can you feel it in a fight like this? I mean, he's another 140-pounder from Dallas.
Listen, Virgil Ortiz he's a monster. That kid's a monster. That kid, he's gonna do really good in the sport. That guy. There's no. I sparred Manny Pacquiao. I sparred so many fighters, and no one hits and has that drive like Virgil Ortiz.
Robert, do you have anything to add on that?
I agree. He sparred him, and Jose always wants the toughest sparring out there, and he always told me, Virgil's the only one in this gym that gives me that kind of sparring. But I'm also a trainer that I also know that it's not an everyday thing. We got to switch it around, have different sparring partners. Jose wants to be in there with the best, and he's always telling me, when am I going to spar Virgil, because that's what he wants. But it's also my job to take care of not only Jose but also Virgil, because they both go at war. They go to wars. So I got to look out for both of them.
It's funny because it was 2.5 weeks ago. I was doing a 12-round session, and I finished my 12 rounds of sparring, and Virgil had finished 6 rounds of sparring. And Virgil goes, "Hey Jose, can you give me 2 more rounds?" And you want to ask Robert, because Robert was gonna say no, right? And so he told me, and I was like, "Yeah." So I just jumped from one ring to the other, and I gave him 2 extra rounds. So I did 14 rounds, and he did 8 rounds. But that just shows the tremendous talent that you find in a gym like Robert Garcia's, and I think that's something that was lacking at 1.2 at the Wildcard Boxing Gym. There's so many hungry, undefeated young fighters. They're not sparring partners; they're future world champions. And I was going against 4-3, 4 even sometimes 5 to give me the 12-round sessions.
Question.
Now that you got the WBO belt to go with that WBC, have you thought about being undisputed champion, being the second person behind Bud Crawford to do that, and have that opportunity?
Yeah, it would definitely be a blessing for me to become the undisputed world champion. But one fight at a time, and I'm gonna go back to work, and I'm humble for this situation that I'm in. But I'm still hungry, man, and I want to continue getting better. And one fight doesn't define someone. This fight doesn't define Maurice Hooker. Maurice Hooker is a humble world champion. He's gonna, I guarantee he's gonna come back a lot stronger. This fight This fight only shows me where I'm at, Personally, I at the end of the day, the criticism and the people's opinions and what people think, that's all. I really don't pay attention to that, man. It's what I feel, and I feel like this are the type of fights that allow me to see where I place myself for myself only, And my opinion towards myself is the only real thing that matters. And this humble opportunity that I got, I took advantage of it, and I plan to continue being a humble champion moving forward and going after the best.
Jose, I remember talking to Bob, last year, and Bob said that Robert's such a good teacher. Besides the fact that you're first generation Mexican Americans, your dad's worked in the field. What type of impact has Robert had on you, from a personal standpoint in the ring too?
In English, I really don't have the proper words in English. When in Spanish, it's like, we got that colmillo, we got the will, tenemos cojones, tenemos like ganas. We have this will to move forward and not to take a step back. And he has it as a trainer, and I have it as a fighter, And those things match up right, and we create a strong team together.
I got a question for Rick. You've been with Jose for a long time. You predicted a knockout. You won't be eating Whataburgers. Can you reflect a little bit on how you're feeling right now?
I'm still gonna take him to Whataburger. I love Whataburger.
No, you don't. So I've been with him since the amateurs, and I've seen him get up for a fight 3 times in 10 years like that. Once was in Brazil when he became an Olympian, going into that fight. The second was New York with Amir Imam, and the third was tonight with Hooker. He gets up for these big fights, and he's just a different fighter. He lives for that moment. He's always wanted to fight the best. He also understands the business side of stuff, but he wants the best, and I can't wait to see what the future holds. I'm ecstatic. It's been a 10-year journey to this point, but can't wait to see what comes next. The bigger the fight, the bigger the performance from Jose Ramirez.
You and Regis have been going back and forth on social media for a couple years now. Anything you want to say to him?
Look, first, I respect Regis a lot. He's one of the best fighters in the world. But I talk shit better than him. It's not my fault. I don't gotta fight him in the ring, but outside the ring.
But the difference, I talk shit and I can fight. So I think I got a 1-up on him.
Outside the ring, he's
the fighter. You the talker. And
outside the ring, he's like one of the opponents he fought early on, like 2-20 or something with me. He's not gonna win, but he makes the sport live. He's one of the reasons why that division is so hot. Between him and Jose, this win tonight, I think the 140-pound division becomes a staple point in boxing, moving forward. There's some very big fights to make. And as you saw with this one, Top Rank makes big fights. They'll sit down at the table, they'll figure it out, everybody comes together. So, I'm looking forward to that moment. I hope he goes into Taylor's backyard and takes care of business.
Would you give me that?
And also, we, of course, and Jose acknowledged that we saw a guy sneaking into Mo Hooker's corner before the fight, and Terrence may have to, down the road, pay the price when he gets in the ring with Jose Ramirez in one of the biggest pay-per-view fights that can be made.
If Progress takes care of business overseas, are you guys, Bob, would you make that fight happen?
We sit down and we make the biggest fights that are possible. Now, there are mandatory fights that he has to do. WBO, WBC gave us permission to do this fight as long as we do the mandatories. We get rid of those mandatories, finish them, and then we'll do the biggest fight that's possible.
So for sure we got mandatories in between.
Yeah.
These guys will have to take mandatory.
That's what the organizations are telling us.
and the fight will be big. I'll fill the Fresno State football stadium if the guy
that-
next
is
to
that
me
where we're
allows
going?
it. If he says so.
Robert, I want to ask you a question. I wanted to piggyback off of, Ramirez told us what makes you special. What makes Ramirez special to you?
Look, just like he said, we come from similar backgrounds. I'm older than him, but my parents worked the fields just like his parents did. My older brother and sisters, they all worked the fields. Me and Mikey are the only ones born here in the United States. Until 87 or 88, that's when my family became legal in the United States. Jose comes through the same, so we live the same life. And then in the gym, obviously, I see the hunger that he's got in the gym, and it just motivates me to push him even harder. He loves to work.
Jose, how you feeling with the support of the Latinos here today? Even though you're not from Texas, a lot of them support you.
I think it's appropriate for me to say that there are so many great American stories, great stories of guys coming up from poverty and fighting. This story of Jose Ramirez is a real American story. The family came over, the mother and father, undocumented. Jose was born in the United States. They're now American citizens, his parents. But it wasn't easy. Working in those fields is backbreaking. Nobody wants to do it other than a lot of Mexicans and people from Central America. It's very, very tough work. And Jose knows where he came from. He was a member of the Latino Water Coalition that fought for water rights for the growers in the Central Valley. He's a standout person for immigration rights, for what's happening in this country with the attitude of the guy in charge towards immigrants. It's an absolute disgrace. Jose has spoken out forcefully and eloquently in the Central Valley and other places, and he is a true leader in his community. And that is something really that is even more important than left hooks and jabs. It is really important to have somebody from this boxing community be as much of an activist as Jose is, and I'm very, very proud of him. The only thing that would have made this night better for me if instead of Mo Hooker in the ring, Donald Trump was in the other corner.
Touching on Mr. Aram's mentions of Jose's investment in his own community, that outfit that he wore tonight, those shorts, those shoes, that shirt, we're gonna go back home and we're gonna auction that off and give it all to Maximum's family when we're done. And look, that attire will go for quite a bit of money. We had an opening bid on his last deal we did on a cancer fight we put on in February of $30,000. That's just to open the bidding, and that was just for a pair of shorts. So that attire, I'm sure, will get a record number when we go home and organize it. But that's the kind of fighter and person he is outside of the ring.
You planning on having a celebration in the Central Valley when you get back home?
Yeah, I my son starts school on August 13th, so I'm gonna go back and enjoy my house and enjoy the family before he starts school and become a father and see him grow and see him go through that school process. But yeah, just enjoy my family. I'm a quiet guy. I'm a type of guy who likes to barbecue and hang out in the backyard. I really don't like big parties or big celebrations. I'm not that typical guy, but listen, I'm very blessed and I'm happy for this opportunity and I feel really good right now. I feel very excited and I'm just ready to continue moving and showing the humble champion I am, and then showing the fans the good quality boxing, and one fight at a time. I just want to give people my best, and that's all I could do as a fighter is just show them my best and the best I could do. And there's no doubt that when I step in that ring, I plan to leave my whole heart in that ring until the last bell rings. And Rick mentioned what I'm about to do, but I wanted to be quiet. they wanted me to post it before the fight, but I was so focused on the fight. I wanted to do this something where, you know, we just kind of announced it in central part of California, and I know I was gonna, you know, raise over $40,000. I also have a scholarship foundation, another foundation that I got started early on when I first went to in the professional career. So I was planning to even match that money that I raised, so I could double it and give it to Maxon's family. You know, but at the end of that, again, Maurice Hooker he's a humble champion. You know, he's a great guy. He came with his family supporting him. He has his kids. So at the end of the day, I'm just happy that we both came out of the ring well, and we're fine to move forward and continue, you know, giving the boxing fans good quality boxing.
All right, a round of applause to the unified champion.